Okay, so now we will start with our another act, which is Benami Transaction Act, which is a part of our anti-corruption laws. Okay, so as I had told you that in anti-corruption laws we are going to do two acts. One is Prevention of Money Laundering Act, which we just finished, and one is a Benami Transactions Prohibition Act. Okay, so पहले we need to understand कि what is Benami? What is which kind of transactions are known as a Benami transactions? Okay, अभी यहाँ पे in the name only it is written Benami. Okay, there is some problem in the name. Okay, Benami transaction you can say. So here we need to understand that there is a real owner. So say he is Mr. X. He wants to own a particular property. Okay, he wants to buy a property, but he really doesn't want to disclose it that this is going to be in his name. So what does he do? He gives his black money laundering, converting your black money into white money. So it is one Benami transaction is also a part of money laundering acts. So he gives his black money to the person. So say Mr. Y. Okay, now this particular person, Benamidar, he uses this black money and he buys a particular property. But the property though is in the name of Mr. Y, it is registered in name of Mr. Y, but the benefits of the property are actually for the real owner. So he is the beneficial owner. So the real owner, basically to convert his black money into white money, he provides his money to a particular person, a Benamidar. He goes ahead and he buys the property as a registered owner. However, all the benefits of that property flows back to the real owner only. So this is what is a Benami transaction. Now once we understand a Benami transaction, we will automatically understand the act, okay? Because the act is made to prohibit such transactions. So we will be studying the definition of the Benamidar, what is a Benami property, and the most important definition will be a Benami transactions definition under section 2 subsection 9. Okay, so let's move to the act. Okay, Benami Transactions Prohibition Act. If you can see, this act is of the year 1988, but it was amended in 2016. Okay, and it is this entire notes, okay, are with the required amendments only. So let's understand the salient features. What is this act trying to explain us? So what is the prohibition? Okay, what are the prohibitions given under the act? They are making us understand that. So we'll see the salient features. We'll get an outline, like पूरा flow मिल जाएगा कि chapter में actually क्या है. So first I said they will define a Benami transaction. Also understand what is a Benami property. It provides the consequences, like what will be the punishment, okay, if you are entering into a prohibited Benami transactions. Okay, so Benami transactions, there are some, though they are Benami, but they are not prohibited. Okay, they are allowed, though even they are Benami. We will see to it. But the other transactions which they are specifically given, they are prohibited under the act. So what are the consequences? Then it lays the procedure for the determination and the penal consequences in case of a prohibited Benami transactions. It gives the powers of the civil court. Then miscellaneous provisions are also given under the act. Central government is empowered for making the rules for the implementation of the bill. Okay, then the central government, in consultation with the Chief Justice of High Court, is to designate one or more courts of session as special court for this purpose. Okay, provides for any penalty if you're getting into Benami transaction or if you're giving some false informations. Okay, it provides for transfer of any proceedings. If there is a Benami transaction proceedings pending in any given court other than the High Court, then that particular case or suits or proceeding can be transferred to the appellate tribunal. We will see that with the in the coming sections of the Act. Let's understand first our important definitions. Okay. The first most important definition is attachment. What do we mean by attachment of a property? Like how we had done prevention of money laundering, here also it remains the same. Attachment means you attaching a property in such a manner that you prohibit its transfer, conversion of the property, disposition or movement of the property by any order, an order issued under the Act. Second, Benami property. It is the subject matter of the Benami transaction. So it could be any property, movable property, immovable property, okay, which is the subject matter of this particular Act. And the most important which we are going to see is the Benami transaction, okay, under section 2 subsection 9. If we will see the past year's paper, they are more concentrated on the definition of Benami transaction. They ask you as a direct question. Explain Benami transaction under section 2 subsection 9 of the Act. So here let's read this definition. It's a little long definition but very simple to understand. First, point A. Okay. As per section 2 subsection 9 of the Benami transaction means a transaction or an arrangement where a property is transferred to or held by a person. Okay. So a property is held by a person. But the consideration for such property, okay, is paid by another person. He is the real owner. He is also known as a beneficial owner. Okay. So the property is transferred to a person, but the payment of consideration is moving from another person. Okay. The property is either held for immediate benefit or maybe future benefit, directly, indirectly, anything. Okay. So whether immediately it is benefiting, it has to be benefited in the future, any kind of a property, but except exceptions. When the property is held by, so these exceptions which I am now going to read, though they are by Benami in its nature, but they are not prohibited under the Act. Okay, so let's read the exceptions. Where a Karta, okay, HUF, Hindu Undivided Family Man, or a member or of an HUF, they hold a property for his benefit or for the benefit of the other members in the family. Okay, and the consideration of this property is provided and paid. Okay, provided or it is paid from the known sources of the HUF. So then it is allowed. It's not a prohibited Benami transaction. Point number B, a person standing in a fiduciary capacity, for example, a director or a partner of the firm, for the benefit of another person towards whom he stands in such capacity. So it includes a trustee, executor, partner, as I said, director of a company, depository, or a participant as an agent of the depository under the Depositories Act, etc. is notified by the central government. So obviously, see, if when we have a DMAT form, okay, DMAT account is what? It is an account which we hold to hold the shares in electronic form. We can hold shares now, no? In fact, everything is in DMAT form now. So our shares in the electronic form. So here, I have shares of Reliance. See, okay? It is in the DMAT form. So Reliance के पास मेरा नाम होना चाहिए, Fatima कागज वाला. But what if I keep on transferring electronically? So I can keep on transferring, buying, selling in every minute. So every time Reliance can't keep changing my name, no? Can keep transferring. So there the registered owner with Reliance is our depository, NSDL or CDSL, or any other depository participant through this depository. Like we have HDFC DMAT account, we have Sher Khan, etc. Okay, we have this Zerodha. So anybody, any depository participant who has got the registered certificate from SEBI, to hold the shares in demat form. So this is allowed. Fiduciary capacity. NSDL CDSL's name is registered with Reliance. Okay, but the beneficial owner is the person actually benefiting out from the shares, because I get the dividend, I get the bonus shares, so and so forth. Okay. Point number C. Any person being an individual, okay, so an individual person like you and me, in the name of his spouse, so I buy a property in my husband's name, or in the name of my child, or I take it for my son, and the consideration is also paid by me from the known sources of the particular individual. So I buy a property either for my husband or for my son or my brother or my sister, my mother, my father, the lineal ascendants and descendants. Okay. Or we may also appear as a joint owner on a particular document. So if these three kind of Benami transactions occur, they are not prohibited under the Act. Okay. Now coming to the big point B, okay, the prohibited Benami transaction. Next, a transaction or arrangement in respect of a property carried out or made in a fictitious name, like you are making a shell company. Actually, that company does not exist only, and then you are transferring the properties in the name of this particular company. So it is fictitious in nature, does not actually exist. A transaction or an arrangement in respect of a property where the owner of the property, who is the owner, he is not aware of or denies the knowledge of such ownership. Okay, so if you are saying that I am not aware only that this particular property exists in my name, so then what is it? It is a Benami transaction. It is prohibited. A transaction or an arrangement in respect of a property where the person providing the consideration is not traceable or is again fictitious. So बेनामीदार तो मिल गया जिसके नाम पे the property is registered, but the person who provided the consideration, okay, now you can't find that person, so obviously we will treat this particular transaction as a Benami transaction. Alright, so any doubt you all have so far? If you all have understood this definition, no, then there is nothing now there is just nothing under the Act. It is so simple. Any doubts, any queries you all have? Okay, so now moving to the next definition, which is Benamidar. He is a person, or it can be a fictitious person, like an artificial person. Okay, you make a shell company or an association of person, ऐसे ही partnership firm बना दिया. Okay, and in whose name the Benami property is transferred or held and includes a person who lends his name. Okay. Fifth, beneficial owner is the person who is the real owner. He actually pays for the particular property. Okay, so it is whether his identity is known or whether he is not known, for whose benefit the Benami property is held by the Benamidar. Fair market value is the property, the price property, okay, in the open market at the date of the transaction. We need to know the fair market value. Why? Because the offences and the penalty which is paid, okay, the fine, okay, it depends upon the fair market value of the property. Okay, and if it is not if you can't ascertain the fair market value, then it will be prescribed. Then we have a firm. So firm is the same thing like a firm, partnership under the Indian Partnership Act section 4. Partners, same meaning which it has under the Indian Partnership Act, and it includes any person. It can be a minor who is admitted for the benefits of the partnership, and it can be a partner of a LLP which is registered under LLP Act. Partnership, same meaning again as assigned under the LLP or Indian Partnership Act. And person, person is an individual or HUF, a company, firm, AOP, body of individuals, or any other artificial person. Okay. Now coming to property, I told you it can be any property, movable, immovable, tangible, intangible, corporeal, incorporeal, and includes any kind of rights, interest, legal documents, okay, or instruments in the evidence. So it includes any evidencing the title, rights, interest to the property that we will consider as a property itself. Then 12, transfer It includes sale, purchase in any form of right, title, possession or a lien. Okay, so with this we finish section 2. Section 2 of the Act, which talks about the definitions, different types of definitions, which are these words will be used under the Act. Okay, now beginning with section 3. Okay, important. As per section 3, they say that no person shall enter into a Benami transaction, and whosoever enters shall be punishable with an imprisonment for a term which can extend to 3 years, or fine, or with both. Now there is this chapter 7 which deals with this offense and prosecution, under which they have simply given that whoever is guilty of this offense, he will be punishable for a term not less than 1 year, which may extend to 7 years. Okay, and the fine is 25%, may extend to 25% of the fair market value. So this is what you have to remember. Okay, right. Then coming to prohibition, section 4, prohibition of the right to recover the property held benami. Okay, now what does this mean? This says, this section provides that no suit or there can be no claim or action to enforce any right in respect of any property which is held benami. So once it has been adjudicated that this particular property is a benami property, okay, under the Act, okay, the adjudicating authority said that this property is a benami property. Once it is done, then there cannot be any claim for and against this property or any action. Okay, so let's read this again. Provides that no suit, claim or action to enforce any right in respect of the property held what? Benami, against the person in whose name the property is held, or against any other person, shall lie by or behalf of that person claiming to be the real owner of such property. Because it is already adjudicated, it is a benami property. So now even if in case you are any other person, you are saying that no, this property is mine, nothing is benami in this, you are the real owner, registered owner, so whatever it is, there will be no claim or action which you can take for that particular property now. Okay, and section 4 subsection 2 provides that no defense is allowed based on any right in respect of the property held benami, whether against the person in whose name the property is held or against any other person, shall be allowed in any suit, claim, it is not allowed, okay, or action on behalf of the person claiming to be the real owner of such property. So if you are claiming to be a real owner of such property and that property is already adjudicated benami, you have no right or claim or action against that particular person or any other person. Okay, done itna. Now coming to section 5. Property held benami is liable to be confiscated, and it will be confiscated by the central government. Prohibition on retransfer. Okay, now people are very smart. They feel that, oh, we will get caught. So fatafat, what they do is they kind of act very smart and they try to retransfer. So he is the real owner, he is the benamidar. Okay, तो they feel अरे we will get caught, so फटाफट इसके नाम पे वापस retransfer कर लेते हैं या तो किसी और के नाम पे retransfer कर लेते हैं. Okay, so this is also not allowed, this is also prohibited. See, section 6 provides that a person being a benamidar first, he shall not retransfer the benami property held by him to the beneficial owner or any other person acting on his behalf. This is totally prohibited. If in case you have already entered such transaction, then that transaction will be treated as null and void. Okay, so section 3 gave us the offences and the penalty. Section 4 said that can not be any suit, claim or right against any property by the real owner against any person. Okay, so you cannot claim once that particular property is a benami property. that Benami property is liable to be confiscated by central government is given under section 5, and section 6 says that there cannot be retransfer of the Benami property to the beneficial owner again, and such transfers will be treated as null and void. Okay, so up to section 6 we are clear. Now coming to the notice and attachment of the property involved in Benami transaction. अभी ऐसा कोई भी property है तो obviously it will get attached. Okay, and then it will get confiscated by the central government once it is proved. Okay, so now when I have to attach, okay, I'm the officer and I have to attach, so I have to give a particular notice, no, that this particular property we feel is a Benami. You give us the reasons why we should not treat it as a Benami property. Okay, so here it says notice and attachment of the property involved in Benami transaction, that where an initiating officer, here we have officers known as initiating officer, based on whatever reasons, okay, he has reasons to believe that a particular person, that any person is a Benamidar in such respect of the property, then he can record his reasons in writing and give a notice to such person and give him the time frame in which he has to reply to that notice. Okay, and a copy of that same notice he has to also serve it on the beneficial owner. So if you have reasons, you are an initiating officer, you may prepare your reasons, record them, give a notice to the Benamidar as well as a copy to the beneficial owner. Now subsection 3, okay, of this section provides that where the initiating officer is of the opinion that this property which is a Benami, that can be alienated, he has a fear that this particular person may just like alienate, he will go away or he will sell the property or he will transfer it, then he will take an approval from the approving authority and he will attach this property provisionally. तो प्रोविजनली पहले से अटैच करके रख देगा, नोटिस भी भेजेगा और अटैच भी करेगा. फॉर मैक्सिमम पीरियड इज 90 days. Provisional attachment. Okay, so before he starts all his search and gathering of evidence etc., at the time of sending the notice only he might feel that, oh no, now if I send the notice he is going to alienate the property, he will provisionally attach the property and keep it. Then next is the initiating officer, after making all the inquiries, calling for the evidences, if he deems fit and taking into account the relevant materials within a period of 90 days from the date of the issue of notice. Okay, तो अगर notice issue किया, then within a period of 90 days. Between this period, first he has to gather evidence etc. And within the periods of 90 days, either he should provisionally attach the property as I just explained you under subsection 3. Okay, provisional attachment. Okay, pass an order continuing that provisional attachment. So if he has already done the provisional attachment along with the notice, so he can again pass an order to continue this provisional attachment unless and until the adjudicating authority passes the decision. Or if he has good evidences, he says nahi kuch Benami jaisa nahi lag raha, so then he can revoke also the provisional attachment of the property. Okay, so point A, where the property was already attached. Now say where the property, the provisional attachment was not made and only notice was given. So here he can pass an order to provisionally attach the property now, okay, with the approval of the approving authority, and keep that provisional attachment unless and until the decision or the order is made by the adjudicating authority. And if he has got evidences where it is not getting proved, he's not got only evidence that whether this is a Benami property, then he can decide not to attach the property at all. Okay. Subsection 5 of this section 24 says that where the initiating officer passes an order to continue the provisional attachment, okay, or passes an order to provisionally attach the property now, whatever, then he shall within 15 days of such attachment, okay, he has to draw up a statement of the case and refer the case to the adjudicating authority. So, ठीक है, notice you have sent and then he gets a period of 90 days. But once he is attaching the property, either within this period, or he attaches the property, then he has got only 15 days time to make up a statement, draw up a statement, and put it to the adjudicating authority. Okay. Who is an initiating officer is the same meaning like an assistant commissioner or a deputy commissioner, okay, under the Income Tax Act. Now, where will the notice be served? Manner of service and notice, it's very simple. If in case of an individual, then to the individual, okay. If it's a firm, then it is a managing partner or the manager of the firm. If it is an HUF, then Karta. In case of a company, principal officer, then any member of the association or body of India, and any other person who manages or controls the affairs of the property. Okay. Okay. Now coming to the adjudication of Benami property. This is also one question which they ask in exam. Okay. So section 26 relates to the adjudication. So now what happens that once the reference is made, okay, by the initiating officer, that this is a property, these are the documents, etc. These are the evidences which is being gathered by the initiating officer. So initiating officer will do his work. He will make a reference and put it to the adjudicating authority. Okay. So now on the receipt of a reference, adjudicating authority now shall issue a notice to furnish such documents, particulars and evidences which are necessary for the particular case. On whom will they serve the notice? One, on the Benamidar. Second, to the beneficial owner. Any other interested party, say suppose a banking company or any other person who is making the claim in respect of that property. So they will serve the notice to all of them to give further, for other documents and other particular evidences. Now, the adjudicating authority will issue the notice within a period of 30 days. So, once the initiating officer has made a reference to adjudicating authority, then within a period of 30 days, adjudicating authority has to serve the notice under section 26. Okay. And further, the notice will have to be given. After giving the notice, they also have to give a time of at least 30 days. So that the person can furnish the information. Okay. So even the adjudicating authority will get 30 days time, and even the person on whom the notice was served, even they are going to get 30 days time. Okay, to serve their reply and the documents. Okay. Now subsection 3 provides that the adjudicating authority, after considering the reply, so once the reply is received to the notice, okay, making or causing to be made such inquiry and calling for such reports and evidences, okay, if they deem fit, they'll take all these relevant materials and facts and documents into account. They will give an opportunity of being heard to the person specified as a Benamidar, also to the initiating officer and any other person who claims to be the owner of the property. So, adjudicating authority here will consider all the facts, documents and evidence. Okay, all the evidences, and also will give an opportunity of heard to the Benamidar, then to the initiating officer and also any other person who claims to be the real owner of such property. Thereafter, the adjudicating authority will pass an order holding the property either not to be a Benami property and revoking the attachment order, or holding the property to be a Benami property and confirming the attachment. Okay. Then subsection 4 provides that where the adjudicating authority feels that some part of the property is Benami. So some part is Benami, and with respect of reference is made, but is not able to specifically identify then that such part, he shall record a finding to the best of his judgment for that part of the property which is to be held as Benami. So it can be a part is held as Benami, a part is not, then he has to make a proper judgment to which part is a should be treated as Benami and which should be not. Then where in the course of proceedings before the authority he has a reasons to believe that a property other than other than the property for which reference is made, there is one more property which is actually again seeming to be a Benami property. Okay, it shall provisionally attach even that property, and that property shall be deemed to be property referred to as if it was attached on the date of receipt of the reference made by the initiating officer. Okay. Now subsection 6 provides that the adjudicating authority may at any stage of the proceedings, either on the application of any party or suo motu, strike out the names of any party which were improperly joined in unnecessarily. They are not being involved also, or the ones who are left out, they can add their names. Okay. So your adjudicating authority has the full right to make the changes, either after an application or if the suo motu feels so. Okay. Subsection 7 provides that no order under subsection 3 shall be passed after the expiry of 1 year. Basically, they are saying that the adjudicating authority has 1 year's time, okay, from the end of the month in which reference was made. Okay, so if reference was made, say, on 1st of December, then 1 month's time, so they have got over here. Okay, because they will be serving the notice, waiting for the reply, etc., etc. After this, they have got only 1 year to pass an order. Okay. As per subsection 7 of the Act, the central government shall by notification appoint one or more adjudicating authorities for purpose of exercising jurisdiction and the powers given under the Act. Okay. An adjudicating authority shall consist of a chairperson and at least 2 other members. Now moving to this is an important question, okay? The adjudication of Benami property under section 26. Even if you can't remember the subsections, which are really very simple actually, only subsection 7 from 1 to 7 are only there. So if you can make pointers for these subsections and have a flow of this answer, like how I have just taught you. Now confiscation and investing of the Benami property. I said confiscation is done by once it is confiscated by the central government and it will be vested also with the central government only. Okay. So after giving an opportunity of the being heard, then the property can be confiscated. Okay. Now, however, see here, where an appeal has been filed. Okay, so adjudicating authority say a particular person is not happy. So appeal can be filed. Okay. Once the appeal has been filed against the order of the adjudicating authority, the confiscation of the property shall be made subject to the order which will now be passed by the appellate tribunal. Okay, further confiscation of the property shall be made in accordance in the procedure. Okay, so right now if you are not happy and you have taken the case in the appeal, now after the appeal, whatever will be the decision, the property will be confiscated thereafter. It will be attached but not confiscated. Okay. Then subsection 2 provides that the above shall not apply to a property held or acquired by a person from the Benamidar for an adequate consideration prior to the issue of notice, without having the knowledge of a Benami transaction. Now what happens here is, there can be a particular buyer who in good faith, okay, good faith, also he paid the consideration. Okay, he paid the consideration and in good faith he had acquired the property, okay, from the Benamidar. And he really had no idea as to this particular, property is a Benami property, is the real owner koi aur hai. He didn't have that idea. Okay, so he's an innocent buyer in good faith and with consideration, adequate consideration, and prior to the issue of notice, all this was done. Okay, without he having the knowledge, then these sections, okay, will not be applicable for that particular person. Okay. Then coming to subsection 3 provides that where an order of confiscation has been made, Then once the confiscation order is made, then all the rights, title, okay, of that property will now vest with central government, free from all encumbrances, and no compensation is payable in such confiscation. Okay. Subsection 4 provides that any right of any third person created in such property with a view purposely to defeat the purpose of the act, then it will be null and void, like how we had seen under section 6, okay, of this act. That no order of confiscation is made upon the proceedings under the act attaining finality, no claim shall lie against the government. Okay. Now, management of property which is confiscated. So, obviously, the confiscated property, central government, they appoint administrators who then look after the property. Okay, and that administrators, they give the name of the administrators in the official gazette. Possession of the property. Okay, now relates to the possession of the property means what? That once the order of confiscation is made on that property. Okay, तो property का पता चल गया कि भाई ये बेनामी property है. So now it is going to be vested with central government. So say somebody is possessing this property, somebody is staying. Okay, so then the administrator will have to make all the arrangements to take away the possession from that person, shall proceed to take the possession of such property. Okay. Then the administrator, how will he take the possession? He will give an issue, a notice in writing, order within 7 days of the date of the service of the notice to the person who may be in the possession to surrender or deliver the possession to the administrator. Okay. If he does not comply to the orders referred above, then for the purpose of forcibly taking over the possession, requisition the service of any police officer may assist him for the purpose of acquisition. Now, appellate tribunal, since say after the adjudicating authority, the appeal has to be made, then it will go to the appellate tribunal. Okay. Notification by central government, they say that central government should establish appellate tribunal and hear appeals against the orders of the adjudicating authority. Alright. Then after the, here right now, appeal to High Court is also there, that any person who is aggrieved by the order of the appellate tribunal, then he may file an appeal to the High Court within the 60 days of the communication of the order. Alright, so if you want to file an appeal from the appellate tribunal, you can go to the High Court. However, special courts, okay, under this act, the salient feature in which what we studied at the starting, one of the salient feature was to establish special courts to look after these matters. Okay. So section 50 of this act relates to special courts. This section provides that the central government, in consultation with the Chief Justice of High Court, shall, for a trial of the offence punishable under this act, okay, by notification designate one or more courts of sessions as a special court for this purpose, okay, or establish special courts in those areas or group of areas, okay, by a notification. Why? Because high courts are already overburdened. Section 2, this section provides, subsection 2 provides that while trying an offence under this act, special court shall also try an offence under the offence referred into subsection 1, with which the accused may come under the Code of Criminal Procedure, be charged under the same trial. Okay. The special court shall not take cognizance of any offence punishable under this act except upon a complaint made to them in writing by the authority or any officer of the central or the state government. Okay, and section 4 provides that every trial under this section shall be conducted expeditiously, as fast as possible, and they should try to conclude the entire matter within 6 months from the date of complaint. Okay. Now the last part of this act is offences and prosecution. Section 53 relates to the penalties. Where any person enters into Benami transaction for the purpose to defeat the provision of this law or avoid payment of the dues or avoid payment to creditors, etc., okay, they shall be guilty of the offence of Benami transaction. Then, if you are found guilty, I said the punishment will not be less than 1 year, extend to 7 years, and fine which may extend to 25% of the fair market value. Section 54 provides penalty for giving false information. Okay, so if in case you are giving any false information under this act, then punishment not less than 6 months, it may extend to 5 years, and fine which may extend to 10% of the FMV, fair market value. Okay. Coming to the offences by companies. Offences by companies. Now, if the company has committed an offence, then whom are you going to punish? Okay. So, a person committing a contravention of any provisions under this act is a company. Okay. At the time of contravention was committed, then the person or any other officer at the time when the contravention was committed was in charge of that or responsible for the conduct of the affairs of the company, as well as the company shall be deemed to be guilty of the contravention and be liable to proceed against the punishments. Okay. Now, however, that particular officer under this section proves, okay, shall render any person liable to punishment if he proves that the contravention took place without his knowledge. So, if he can prove that whatever Benami transaction which was entered, he did not have any knowledge and it was done without his covenants, without his agreement, then yes, then this will not apply to that particular officer. Okay. So, with this, we finish our Anti-Corruption Laws, Prevention of Money Laundering Act and Benami Transactions Act. Okay. The exam questions which possibly are asked in the exams, like in this past three attempts which I see for Prevention of Money Laundering Act, they ask you the 3 stages. Okay, 3 stages of money laundering which we have seen. And the most important question after that is the obligations. Okay, on banks, financial institutions and intermediaries. These 2 questions are the most important questions in PMLA Act. And in Benami Transactions Prohibition Act, the most important question is section 2 subsection 9, which is the definition of a Benami transaction. And another question is the adjudication of a Benami property under section 26. Alright. So, any doubt you all have, you all want to ask any questions? This entire notes, it is like taken up from your module only. So, I have covered up the whole module for these 2 acts. Okay. Thank you.